I don't think it's bad to be hard on yourself, as long as you also celebrate when the victories happen. But I think it's more important is to realize that self-esteem is earned. It's only earned by you with yourself. You're not going to get self-esteem because everybody praises you. Someone can tell you your whole life that you're brilliant, you're a genius, you're beautiful, you're handsome, and you not believe it. Someone can tell you you're a piece of crap and you're never going to become anything, and there's a part of you can say, I'll show you, as many people have, and then they develop drive out of it. Self-esteem comes from doing incredibly difficult things where you know you pushed yourself. It's not virtue signaling, it's not telling people about it. It's what you know inside your soul is true. And the more you do things that are incredibly difficult, and especially things that are meaningful, meaning they're not just about yourself, the higher that esteem would be. I think the most important thing for self-esteem is to find something you care about more than yourself. As long as you're in your own head, the nature of the mind is reductionism. Good, bad, right, wrong, all those types of things. Of course, life is much more, many different hues than that. And so when you find something you care about, whether it's your kids or whether it's something, your job, your career, whether it's a mission you have, it's something you want to bring to the world, nonprofit, doesn't matter what it is. If you want an extraordinary life, which my definition of that is life on your terms. Like, what's my idea? It might be different than yours completely. You compare it to somebody else's life that has a totally different path, a totally different experience. We all develop in different stages and different things. We all want different things. So instead of looking for somebody else, it's like, okay, what do you really want from your life? And aligning yourself with moving forward towards what you really want. And I think if you can do that in a way that also you feel serving others simultaneously, there's a sense of meaning in life that can't be replaced by self-esteem or praise or compliments or being nice to yourself. And I don't think it's bad to be tough on yourself. It's good to be strong with yourself, but beating yourself up just lowers your energy. And when your energy gets lower, you produce less. You don't have the same level of joy. You don't have the impact that you want to have, nor do you have the excitement that you really want to have. So I look at it as something that it's worth earning your own self-esteem, but it's really not the secret. The secret is find something else you obsess about more than yourself, and you'll have a level of energy that will compel you over the long term. If you give your all every day, your gifts will make room for you. And it's like having a knowingness that things are going to be fine. And then there's the next level, which is you start to know who you are, and you're not trying to prove it to yourself or other people. And it's just, you just want to help. You just want to do things. And so now it's the difference between what I would call push motivation and pull. Push is, I'm going to make this happen. And it takes tremendous willpower. And I know you have plenty of willpower, I do as well. But there's a limit to willpower, but there's no limit to pull. I think spiritual development, when people talk about spiritual, not religious development, spiritual development is the level of comfort you can have with just being your real self. And I think that's not an easy task, because we all are trying to be something, but we already are that something we're trying to be. That doesn't mean you can't be better. We don't experience life. None of us do. We experience the life we focus on. So in any moment, what's wrong is always available. So is what's right. So it's not about being positive. It's about being intelligent. You know, when you're in a totally negative state and the world's going to end, and there are people like believing that in the next 12 years, the entire environment's going to collapse and they won't have a child, you got to look at the impact of what you're believing. And you got to look at and say, where's my focus going? I can always be upset about something. I can always find something to be joyous or at least grateful for, which leads to joy. Learning to discipline your disappointments, not allow them to grow and to move on and to use whatever life has given you. But to me, it's like, I think there's 3 decisions that people make every moment of their life. Now, I'm not saying they make them consciously. If you make them unconsciously, you have the same patterns over and over again, and usually they're not good ones. Sometimes they're good, but not usually. We all have a pattern of focusing on what we have and at times on what's missing. Which one do you think most people spend more time focusing on, what they have or what's missing?
What's missing?
The focus on what's missing is not something that comes with someone who is a failure. It comes very much with people who are very successful. And the question then becomes, if you're always focused on missing, how can you sustain happiness? So scarcity is there. So you'll have drive, but you're not going to see much fulfillment, not in a sustainable way. Most of us who are achievers tend to focus on the future, but all the joy is in the present. You can have some anticipation in the future and be excited about it. Most people's stress comes from either the past or the future. The majority of people spend a lot of time in the past. And the problem is you can't change it. So the contrast of remembering where you were and who you've become is probably a beautiful thing. But if you use it that way, but most people go back and they ruminate about the past, or they ruminate about a future that they can't control, and the present's there. So the goal is, an ideal is fuel. An ideal fuel is a combination of the two. Present, that gives you that centered grounding, and anticipation for the future, the ability to bounce back and forth, is the ideal for people. If you're good at something, you've trained it into yourself. Your training of your nervous system to do things is what really matters most. And you can't just be in your head. Have you ever had something happen in your life that was horrible? I mean, it was painful. You'd never want to go through it again in a million years. You wouldn't want anybody else to go through it that you care about. But after 5 or 10 years, you look back and you say, I never want to go through it again. But now I see the wisdom in it. That's like, it made me care so much more. It made me so much stronger. It made something in me more. There's nothing to forgive. I know there's nothing, like, people say this, but you have so much to forgive. There's nothing to forgive. I mean, it's like, if I get to a deeper truth, a deeper spiritual truth, a soulful truth, it's all like soul contracts. Like, so we're all here for something more than ourselves. And it's not until you realize that you stop the childhood thing of, I need to forgive people, or I need to, maybe you want to think about what you want other people you want them to forgive you for, or you can make an apology, because we all screw up. We all do stupid things. We all do things we're not proud of at different times. The secret is, do you do something about it, or do you just ruminate or beat yourself up or pretend it isn't there? When people are fearful, when they have anxiety, it's almost always because they don't recognize the patterns that are happening. Because if you recognize the patterns, things are very predictable. What looks like chaos is just because it's not been a pattern you've seen before. So think about this. This is why you want to learn this. If you can recognize patterns, the fear disappears. Second skill, use the pattern. When you know what the pattern is and you use it, now you have mastery of something. Now you can do better than most people in that area. So, I interview all these people, the best investors in the world. They're all different, but I recognize the patterns that are in common. And when I'm done, my billionaire clients love it, and the average person can learn from it because the patterns are fundamental. If I want to learn the piano in the beginning, I have to learn probably somebody else's patterns that have figured it out. That's how I learn. But if I use those patterns over and over again, I'll eventually get to where I can do the third skill, which is pattern creation. Now you have an amazing life. Now you're not managing your circumstances, you're the creator of your life.